Hey, everybody, and welcome to the True Crime Squad. This is Katie Weaver. I'm here with my sister, co host, and partner in crime, Christy Brower. Hello.
Hello. Hey, everybody.
How's it going?
It is going well. I mean, we're experiencing snowpocalypse,
Mm-hmm.
but hey, I'm in a nice warm house, so that's all right.
Yeah. Like a bulk of the country, like 40 states are under a winter weather advisory this
Isn't that
week.
crazy? I
It's
mean, it's not that
bananas.
unusual for us in January. I mean, this is kind of to be expected, but I know not
Yeah.
everybody's used to this kind of weather.
No, I hope you guys are warm and safe and have power and
Yes.
are doing okay.
We're not
Really,
experiencing tornadoes. There's tornadoes.
yeah. The tornadoes are
What?
terrifying. And just
Yeah.
overall, like, I honestly, I'm just so worried for all the unhoused people in bigger cities that,
Oh, God, yeah.
ugh, I can't even
At least we
imagine.
know here, um, people who are homeless do not stay here in the winter. They get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Unless they have, like a vehicle to live in or something, because you can't
hmm
survive here.
But even then, in this kind of cold, I mean,
Terrible.
but our forecast has changed. I mean, early next week, we were supposed to be 30 below with a wind
Yeah.
chill of like 60 below. It is looking like maybe we're not going to be that cold now.
God,
So
I
I
hope
hope
not.
that's true. Yeah.
That's the worst ever. Like I can take anything
Mhm.
in winter, but 30 below and wind chills like that, it's horrific.
It's
You can't.
hell. And
Yeah.
trying to convince dogs to go ahead and go out and pee in that, they don't.
Yeah.
They don't want to.
Especially all our little tiny dogs. Yeah.
Right? They're like, "Are you
Mm-mm.
out of your mind?"
Are you
I
trying
know.
to kill us?
Yeah.
Kind of feels that way, doesn't it?
Actually, when it's that cold, I'm really paranoid about my animals. I usually keep the dog door shut and just only let them out if I know exactly where they're, because it
Well,
wouldn't
you
take
don't
very
want to
long
get
for one of those
stuck
little dogs
somewhere
to
and
freeze to death. Yeah.
oh yeah,
Yeah. Anyway, boo.
definitely.
So I hope everyone is okay.
Yes.
This is our
Me
Thursday
too.
episode,
Yes, it
and
is.
we're rounding it up. We're gonna do a true crime roundup style so that we can get several things in, and it looks to me like we're gonna go from hit a lot of different facets of crime today.
We really are. We're using a lot of our categories, actually. Kind
We
of cool.
really are. So I'm gonna turn the mic over to you to enlighten us with a little racial injustice.
Yeah. You may remember this young man. This is Elijah McClain.
Yeah.
Elijah McClain was killed by police and paramedics, basically. This was an officer involved death in 2019 in Colorado. He was walking outside while wearing a ski mask. And the
hmm
reason he was doing that is because Elijah had anemia and was very cold all the time.
Yeah.
And so he liked to wear a face mask when he was outside because his face would get really cold.
hmm
So, in the infinite wisdom that is the racists in this country,
hmm
someone called the police and said that there was some sketchy young black man with a mask on
hmm
walking down the street. Elijah didn't do anything. Elijah didn't commit any crimes.
No.
Elijah didn't even appear to commit crimes. He was literally walking down the street.
Yeah.
Well, a police officer named Randy Rodema uh, was just sentenced for his conviction of criminally negligent homicide and third degree assault for his role in Elijah's death.
Yeah.
So, what happened? It's the most ridiculous bullshit ever. So someone calls 911, says there's this kid who looks sketchy. The police come. They just subdue him immediately. He does not know what's happening or why.
Yeah.
And they put him in a carotid chokehold. Sound familiar?
Yeah.
George Floyd. Yes.
Yeah.
While they have him
Not
down,
chokehold that we don't teach and don't condone. Yeah.
yeah,
That
that
one.
one. So then, while the police have him subdued and have him down, the paramedics, which I do not understand why they were even there or why they possibly did this, they injected him with an overdose of ketamine.
Yeah.
This is not standard practice in any
No.
way.
No.
And unfortunately, Elijah died several days later in the hospital from
Yeah.
his injuries and from the overdose. So there were 5 men who were prosecuted in Elijah's death. Uh, Mr. Rodema and the 2 paramedics were actually convicted.
Hmm.
Mr. Rodema gets 14 months in prison
Wow.
for murdering this young boy.
For doing
And,
literally nothing.
right. And that does include that he can be on work release. He has the possibility of
Wow.
work release. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So it just, again, police brutality, particularly against Black people and people of color, is still happening. We know this happened in 2019, but here we are in 2024,
Hmm.
and this man gets 14 months in prison
Yep.
for murdering an innocent boy who was
Hmm.
walking down the street minding his own business. It
Yeah.
makes me sick. The
It's not
message that is being sent
illegal
with a case like
to
that,
wear a mask. Yeah.
no, it isn't. And you know what? I have been dealing with anemia this year, and I 100% understand that cold face. I have a cold nose 24/7, and my face gets
Hmm.
really cold when I go outside. I can totally understand why he was just trying to make himself more comfortable.
Yeah.
And for that, the police and the paramedics murdered him.
Yeah.
And this officer gets 14 months in prison.
The whole thing is such a miscarriage. It's just
It
of
is.
justice. It's so ridiculous.
There is absolutely no justice in this. There
No.
is nothing that anyone can say to make this better for his family.
No.
It's horrific. But we have to keep up on these things. We have to be aware of them. We need to know about these sentences. We need to understand what is still happening with police officers who abuse their role
Yep.
to the point of murdering people.
Yep.
And these paramedics. I mean, the whole thing was so ridiculous.
Hmm.
There's no justification for giving the ketamine at all. And they gave a huge overdose of what I read one somewhere that it was 5 times what someone his weight should have had,
Yeah.
and why he needed ketamine in the first place.
No one could explain. Yeah.
They had him in a carotid chokehold. They were already killing him
Hmm.
when they gave him the ketamine.
Hmm. Also, this kid was not super built. He was not strong. He wasn't
Mm-mm.
putting up much of a fight. He couldn't have been.
No, he wasn't.
When someone's killing you, you probably are fighting for your life.
Right, which he had every right to do.
And the amount of restraint it took to restrain an innocent person who did nothing wrong in the first place.
Right, exactly. So the paramedics have also been found guilty of criminally negligent homicide, and
Hmm.
they will be sentenced in March.
Hmm.
So we shall see what they get.
Hmm.
The ones who actually made the decision to inject this man.
Hmm.
And I've watched some videos done by various physicians and paramedics who have all said that this is not standard practice at all. This is not something that normally
Right.
would be done. They don't even know why they had ketamine or why they
That
would
was
think
my
it would be
question. Why
okay to
would they
use
have
it.
even had ketamine? Yeah.
Some agencies use it to subdue someone who's having like a mental health crisis and they become combative.
Hmm.
But I mean, they overdosed him.
Yeah.
They had no reason to give it in the first place, and then they
No.
overdosed him while he was being choked.
Hmm.
I mean, it's brain death.
Yeah.
Really sad.
Terribly sad.
So, our love to Elijah McClain's family and
Yeah.
to the judge that gave this officer 14 months. Fuck you.
Yeah.
It should have been more like 14 years or a
Yep.
lot more than that.
Yeah.
We cannot continue to live in a society that does this kind of shit. We just can't.
No.
We
No.
can't allow it. So,
Absolutely.
with that, Katie, I'm going to kick it over to you for some crime news update.
Okay. Really interesting story coming out of California. Legislators in California are absolutely done with people being roofied at bars and events, and
Hmm.
they're trying really hard to fight against it. So they have passed a law. This is AB 1013. It will go into effect in July that requires all bars and nightclubs to keep test kits that can detect drugs like rohypnol, ketamine, or GHB.
Oh, wow.
So, according to the bill, they must offer to sell test kits either at a cost not to exceed a reasonable amount based on the wholesale cost or offer them for free.
Hmm.
They also have to have signage in the facilities that say don't get roofied, drink spiking drug test kits available here, ask a staff member for details.
Wow.
Required by law.
That's amazing.
Mhm.
That's a really good step.
Mhm. So the kits themselves have a straw, a sticker, and a strip that you use
Mm.
to detect a date rape drug. So if someone
Hmm.
thinks that their drug or that their drink may have been drugged, they can test it. If they like say your friend starts acting really weird at a bar and you're wondering if they're okay, you could test their drink. Uh
Hmm.
this is it also they're hoping it will deter some people.
I would
But some of the
think that it might.
statistics, this is a law and crime article that I'm referencing. Some of the statistics, this comes from the Federal Office on Women's Health. This was a
Hmm.
study from 2010 to 2012. So, I mean, it's old, but still, it's pretty shocking. Found that a staggering 11 million people reported being raped or assaulted while intoxicated, drunk, drugged, or high. 11 million.
Jesus Christ. That's unbelievable.
In 2016, a study in the medical journal Psychology of Violence found the rate of drink spiking was even more widespread than initially thought. So they sampled a group of 6,000 students at three different colleges. Nearly 500 people reported being drugged before, so that was just under 8%. But get this, they also found that 83% of those surveyed said they had drugged someone else.
Oh my God.
83% of 6,000 reported that they had drugged someone else.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That is terrifying.
Yeah. This is men and women.
What the hell, people? You're out there drugging people? Why?
Why?
Oh my God.
Well, besides, rape.
Right.
Last August in California, at a salon in San Francisco, police uh, uncovered 3.5 kilos of GHB that was being smuggled in through a nail salon.
Holy crap.
That's enough for 3,500 doses. It's not a little problem,
Oh,
it's a huge problem.
that is a
Not
huge
too long
problem.
ago, one of my kids, they were at a bar and
Hmm.
she'd only had one drink. She only had one drink the whole night. And she said, I felt so weird just the whole night. And she had told her friends, something, I don't feel right. Keep a close eye on me. And they did. Her brother was
Hmm.
there too. But she said she didn't like not remember the night, but she said she just felt very weird and not herself and was super sick the next day. And I had
Hmm.
asked her, do you think it's possible that you got drugged? And she goes, I don't know how I could have. My drink was at our table with our friends the whole night if it wasn't with me. I just don't know how it would have happened. Well, you don't know. That's the problem. You
It
don't
can
know.
happen so fast.
Hmm. Luckily, she had a huge group of friends around her that, kept a close eye on her and got her home safe. But she didn't feel good for a whole day afterwards. And I still am very
That's really
suspicious
scary.
of that night. Yeah, and that is really scary. But the statistics are pretty wild. So, anyway, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out in California, if it
Yeah.
helps. I keep wondering why somebody doesn't just pass a law saying that all drinks have to be covered. All drinks have to have lids,
A lid. Yeah.
even shots, everything. They all have
Yeah.
to be lidded.
I know it's another thought. I mean, there's fingernail polish you can get that can detect some things, and
Mhm.
like there are a lot more things happening. Or, I've thought about like, what about a color changing glass that could change, that might change color, or I don't know. There's got to be a bunch of different ways, but I'm really happy to see a state take
Mhm.
some initiative to like really try to address this on a bigger level.
Absolutely, and they're probably just paving the way for other states to take a similar route. Now we'll see if it really helps, if it actually deters people and if the bars make them available enough, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot to adjust with all of that.
hmm And I'm sure there's plenty of cost involved, you know.
Yeah.
But th- to me, if it were I a bar owner, I think the safety of my patrons would trump anything else
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah, me too. I would think so
So
too. A lot of bartenders are very hyper aware of that kind of
yes.
thing, and they have, like, in the women's bathrooms, they'll tell you ask for an angel shot and it means this, and I mean,
Mhm.
there are a lot of individuals taking initiative, so this is cool to see it happening on the state level.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. So with that, I'm going to kick it back to you for some more or for some serial killer news.
Yes. Sometimes old serial killers get identified, and unfortunately, this is a dead one. But let's talk about it. The man's name was Alan W. Wilmer Sr., and he died in 2017. But it turns out that he was at least partially responsible for what's known as the Colonial Parkway murders that happened in
Mm,
Virginia in the 1980s. So he has been linked definitively now to three deaths through his DNA, and those are the murders of David L. Knobling, Robin M. Edwards, and Teresa Lynn Spa Howell.
okay.
So, Knobling and Edwards were found shot to death on September 23rd of 1987. They were in a wildlife management area in Isle of Wight County
hmm
in Virginia. Apparently, Edwards had been sexually assaulted, and they were both shot. And they had been missing for about 4 days when their bodies were found. Those murders were included in what's known as four double homicides from 1986 to 1989 that were dubbed the Colonial Parkway murders because they were
hmm
happening along that parkway. So then, Teresa Lynn Spa Howell was found dead inside of a club in Hampton, Virginia on July 1st of 1989. She was identified 3 days later after somebody filed a missing persons report for her. She had been sexually assaulted and strangled. So, how did we get Wilmer's name? Well, when Wilmer died in 2017, for reasons I don't fully understand yet, DNA had to be used to confirm his identity after death. And so his DNA went into the system for the first time. Those three murders, police have known for a long time that they were linked and that they were all committed by the same person because of DNA at those scenes, but they were never able to confirm it or, compare it to Wilmer because he was never arrested for anything. But now we know that his DNA matches all three of those murders.
Wow.
We don't know yet if he actually committed the other three Colonial Parkway murders
hmm
because those were all kind of connected just by location, basically.
Right.
And so I think there's a lot being done, right now to figure it out.
Yeah.
But we know for sure that these three cases are now solved.
Wow.
Unfortunately, Wilmer's dead, so he doesn't get to stand trial. But the police have said they have enough evidence that he would be arrested for first degree murder if
hmm
they, if he was still living.
Yeah.
So
Let it
here
stand as a
are,
constant warning, you know,
yeah,
to those who would want to do no good. DNA is going to catch you.
it is. Here's a picture of the three victims. So at
Wow.
least there is a little closure for their family. I feel
hmm
bad for Wilmer's family if he has any. I don't know. I mean, the the situation around his death and needing to do DNA to identify him does make you wonder if he
Mhm.
didn't really have any connections with people. But
Mhm.
wouldn't it be shocking to find out after a family member has passed
Right?
that they were
It would be horrifying.
a
Yeah.
murderer that has never been caught? Be terrible.
Well, it depends, really. I can think of certain family members that I would be like, I'm not that surprised.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
true. It's true, and he may have just been a real bad guy, and they
Yeah.
would not have known, or
But
would
like if
not
I
have been
learned something like
surprised.
that by like about our dad, it would be an unbelievable shock. Yeah.
Right,
I mean,
right, yeah.
I think it would really depend on who they were in other
Yeah,
people's lives.
I think that's very true, but it's still, I mean, no matter what, it's a shocker.
But some of my husband's family, yeah, I could see it.
Yeah, me too, me too. Yeah, so, hey, we'll keep an eye on that and see if maybe
Yeah.
they're able to close some more cases now that they have his DNA.
Mhm.
And with that, Katie, I'm gonna kick the mic back to you for some WTF news.
Yeah. Well, this is really just for fun. I have a little compilation of two different times where police were called out recently for, well, not people things. You might remember a while back we had a segment where some police were called out to a farm where somebody was screaming for help. And we have the cop cam video of them, their vest cam, running all the way up this lane, and you can hear this screaming for help. And they run into this barn, and it's a goat. You
Yep,
remember that? And he was
it
just
was
bellowing his guts
hilarious.
out.
That poor cop is just a huffing and a puffing, and it's a goddamn goat. Yeah,
It was
it
so
was, but
funny.
boy, it was screaming help, man. It sounded like a woman shrieking help.
Well, and after they were able to contact the farm owners, they said, "Well, yeah, we had to separate him from his best friend, and he's been in there bawling his head off. He was yelling help."
It was.
Poor guy. So the first video is quite a bit longer, but this is a situation where the police were called out because the neighbors had been calling in this community to the police and complaining that there was a rooster in the community in this neighborhood that was attacking people. And if you've ever been attacked
Ooh,
by a rooster, it's
they're
terrifying.
mean little shits,
Uh-huh, and
man.
it hurts. The video's kind of entertaining because that's not a rooster at all, that's a hen. Uh, but, it's about 2.5 minutes of this, poor guy chasing a rooster around the neighborhood, but the way he puts the rooster in his car nearly killed me, so I'm gonna let you watch that, and it's followed by a brief clip of some police officers. Now these jokes write themselves, but chasing a pig, not kidding, through the McDonald's drive-through. So you can imagine the comments on the article I found about pig on pig action over here, about the
Yes,
McRib is
yes.
back in town, uh, a lot of things. I'll just let you watch. It's just kind of funny. So let's go.
Here, it sounds weird,
No, that's all right.
but we back in the day.
Okay.
No, you stay where you at. And he sure don't belong to us.
Yeah.
You see? I see him. And he keeps coming out chasing folks, and I think he's been back here in my yard. I swear that's not my chicken.
You see him?
He likes to run up on people.
Is there a rooster? Oh, there he is. Oh, yeah, that's a rooster.
Yeah, no. He likes to run up on folks. And now it's over to your phone.
Come on. Try to close that gate if you got one.
Huh?
Try to close the gate. You
I
can.
don't have a gate. That
Oh.
ain't my chicken.
I know it's not your chicken. There. Come here. Try to corner it. No, come on.
3 access, west side, 35 eastbound to 75 southbound ramp. Shit, I have any crews available at the moment.
You come open my cruiser door.
196, I'm going to drop you on that to help with traffic. 35 eastbound, 75 southbound ramp.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pull up.
50-52 contact.
The way he just throws that chicken in the back seat. It was just
Well, the way he goes like this.
after
That
that
was pretty great.
little shit's made a fool out of him for chasing him around that yard. Can you close
That
the
was
gate?
pretty great.
I don't have a gate. It's not my chicken. I know it's not your chicken.
Oh my gosh. That's hilarious.
The next time a load of ferrets gets set loose at Jack in the Box or something, that guy is not going.
Yeah, no kidding.
The pigs in the McDonald's drive-thru are just too funny.
Oh my gosh, and that's a
Anyway.
big pig. Like that,
Yeah.
you're not picking that thing up. Ooh,
Mm-mm. No, that's a big guy, and he probably bites damn hard too,
yeah. I would imagine so.
from experience.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was just for fun. I think sometimes it's fun to look at the lighter side of we're pretty tough on the cops around here when they deserve it, but at the same time, they do serve our communities, and sometimes they really have to do a lot of undesirable things.
They genuinely do that.
So thank
Chasing
you
that
to
chicken
the
around is
brave
pretty
boys
great.
in blue that chased that chicken around the yard and put it in the backseat of his car. Because now
Yeah.
he was going to have to drive somewhere and listen to that and squawk at him
Right? I think and then catch it in the car, and also it's gonna poop everywhere in there.
everywhere. Yeah.
I could
Oh,
think
yeah.
of like all I could think about was all of the problems that are gonna occur
It's
with
just going
that
to make
thing in the car.
a god awful mess in that car. Yeah.
Mhm.
So sorry about it. and a great job on that hog. Yep. Well, I'm going to turn the mic back
Oh,
over to you for a crime news update.
yes. So we have a little bit of movement in the Crystal Rogers murder case regarding Steve Lawson. This is Steve. We've talked about him. He is the third person now in custody for the believed murder of Crystal Rogers. Of course, Crystal Rogers has been missing for several years,
Mhm.
and at this point is believed to be dead.
Yeah.
Her boyfriend at the time, Brooks Hauk, is already in jail.
Yeah.
Steve Lawson's son is also in jail. There's not been any trials or anything yet. They're just in jail. And then Steve Lawson himself, who originally was basically turning over evidence and cooperating with the police, and was supposedly going to have a plea deal or some kind of immunity deal.
Mm-hmm.
And then was recently arrested on a grand jury indictment.
Wow.
He has been sitting in jail on a $500,000 bond. So he is charged with conspiracy to commit murder and tampering of physical evidence. At this point, they have used the word solicitation as though he may have been one of maybe more than one person who was actually hired to kill Crystal Rogers.
Wow.
So yeah, his bond was cut from $500,000 to $250,000. Lawson's attorney was asking for a bond of $20,000 cash or $40,000 property.
Wow.
The judge was like, "Nah, $250,000," which it sounds like It does sound as though he is going to be remaining in jail for that because he cannot come up with 250,000. So the judge and the defense attorney were real far apart on that.
Yeah. Well, okay, that's fine.
Yeah. So very interesting. I don't know. I mean, this is starting to look like maybe they're going to be able to prove a murder for hire plot, which is
Interesting.
one thing people had suspected at the time that Crystal Rogers died. Steve Lawson was working in construction, and one thought is that he used large equipment to bury her body somewhere.
Uh-huh.
Her body has never
Interesting.
been found. She's been missing since 2015, since like the 4th of July in 2015. So interesting stuff, but good movement is happening. People
Good.
who are aware of this case and this is your community, people are very ready
Yeah.
for a solution here and for all of those involved to get their comeuppance. And so I was glad to see
Absolutely.
that, they're not messing around. So Steve Lawson, I think, has maybe broken his immunity deal because they sure don't seem to be giving a damn about it now, not since the grand
No.
jury indictment.
Very interesting. These trials are going to be super interesting.
They
But
are.
I'm just so grateful for Crystal's family that they're getting the justice. And also, it sounds like the Hawks have kind of terrorized that area for quite some time, and it's time to end that too. So,
It is. Well, and just these are dangerous people who should not be on the street.
yep,
I mean,
you
if
bet.
they murdered Crystal Rogers and did away with her body, then they are dangerous to their community.
They got to go. Yep.
Definitely. All right. With that, Katie, I'm going to kick the mic back to you for a little more serial killer news.
Yeah. It's a serial killer kind of day, I guess.
I guess.
I hope that doesn't hold true in any other serial killer news kind of day. Let's not
Yes, there you go.
go crazy here. This is news in the Happy Face Killer.
Oh, yes.
So this is a rendering of the last known Happy Face victim.
Yes.
And the police have been able to, with a bunch of DNA work, come up with a pretty good idea of who she is-ish. Now they need the public to help fill in the gaps. So, of course, the Happy Face Killer is Keith Hunter Jesperson, and he killed 8 women. He was a long-haul trucker and always had wanted to be famous or known. So he started killing women and then confessing in anonymous letters that he sent to the news. And it did get him some notoriety, so he kept doing it.
Yeah.
In one of the letters he sent to the news, he said, I did this because I wanted to be known, and now I don't know how to stop. Well, you know what you could have done is stopped. I don't know. Turned yourself
Never
in.
started. I've followed
Never
the Happy
started.
Face Killer's daughter on TikTok for quite a while. Very interesting to see her from her perspective because she was a child when these things were happening and kind of what her experience was like growing up with him.
So he was arrested in 95, and investigators in 6 states have still been working to, or have worked to, get the identities of his victims figured out. So Happy Face Killer, by the way, because he would put a smiley face on the notes that he sent to reporters and things.
Yeah,
but
gross.
So this body was found in California, and apparently he was supposed to be, he claims that he had picked this woman up and she wanted to go to Los Angeles, but he told her he was going to Arizona. He refers to her as Claudia. We don't actually know if that's her name or not, but that was what he called her. This happened she was found on August 30th, 1992. So sometime, we believe in August, he picked her up and said that he would take her to Arizona. He says they drove for a while. They stopped at an 8, and then they had a fight about money. So he decided to kill her, which she did do. and then left her body along Highway 95 near Blythe, California.
Mm.
So she's the one that has never been fully named or identified, but they have finally learned a few things about her. So they know that her father lived in Texas and that he's deceased.
Okay.
And they know they have a pretty good sense of what she looked like. So now they're sending this information out to the world saying, look at her.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what they're saying. She was 20 to 30 years old with blonde hair and a tattoo of 2 small dots on her right thumb.
Mm.
They believe she had ties to Las Vegas and southern Nevada and appeared to be familiar with Los Angeles. She was wearing a gray t-shirt with a photo of a motorcycle on it when her body was found. And again, genealogists determined that her bio father lived in Southeast Texas, but is no longer living.
Oh, wow.
And that's what they know.
Mm-hmm.
So they really want to put a name to her face and, appropriately be able to identify her and give whatever family she's still got out there some peace.
Sure.
So, again, that is what they anticipate she would look like or would have looked like,
Mm-hmm.
thanks to DNA. So,
Wow. So wild that DNA can determine things like hair color and eye color and stuff now.
yeah,
Although, we live in the world of no one keeps their natural hair color anymore. So we know
right.
anyone, but,
I was glad they ran this both colors because who knows.
yeah. Right.
But at any rate, there you have it. That's exciting. Hopefully there's a conclusion there.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. Because that there's probably somebody out there that always wonders what happened to an aunt or a sibling,
Yeah.
and maybe they'll be able to finally put that to bed.
Yeah, I sure hope so. Yeah. Okay. Did we do it? Or do you have one more?
No, we did
We're
it.
good. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I can't math.
I
Again, Idaho. 1 potato, 2 potato song. Yeah. All
True,
right.
true.
Well, this wraps up the week for us. So we'll be back next week with lots more content. So please like, share, follow, subscribe, all the things. Thanks so much for
Mhm.
being here. You guys, please, please, please stay safe, stay warm, take good care of yourselves, and we'll be
Mhm.
back soon. This has been yet another production of the True Crime Squad.
Bye, everybody.